Okay, we're broadcasting, and the channel is live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Adventure on So Many Levels. We're going to play some Dungeons and Dragons. I am Christiana Ellis, and I am the Dungeon Master. Our players tonight, Jenny Meltzer as Zaylene.
Wait, we just came to a really big tree? The end.
Starla Hutchton as Carolina Swift.
Hello, friends.
Paul Fisher as Zinhorn Windborn.
I see tremendous opportunity here.
Mark Kilfoyle as Nedry Shiny Rock.
Too many branches, we'll never find the end.
And James Meltzer as Woota.
I got nothing. How y'all doing?
So, when last we left the Pocket Protectors, you had found yourself within a tiny little pocket dimension which had fashioned itself as an infinite party designed to offer an escape and a respite from the cruelty of the outside world by essentially letting people stay in a party forever. And this is, in fact, where Zinhorn's parents had disappeared to. And they learned that Zinhorn had become initially separated from his parents there through a curse given to him from the outside. Ultimately, after discussing the matter with the host and his backstage representative, Putresca, the Pocket Protectors decided that perhaps there was no fight necessary here, and instead you negotiated for information and transport back to the prime material plane. You also learned that you were able to take Buster, the Grey Render, along with you, because that's where he wants to be, is with you. But you found yourself deposited right into the middle of what appears to be a garden in the city of Emerit, Arboris, on the prime material plane. And I think as you kind of sit up and look around, Woota, you were last with your friends there in the Eternal Party and discussing with Putresca, and it looked pretty sinister for a moment there. But then all of a sudden you found yourself flickering out in the way that sometimes happens to you. And when you were aware again, you felt something under your feet, and then you looked, and you had appeared standing on top of a very tiny person whom you had crushed. And you were surrounded by dozens more of these tiny, tiny people, only a few inches high. And they looked up at you in awe as you stood upon this person in the center of them. And then they all cheered. Yay! And then you flickered out again and found yourself in a garden with everybody else.
I am
Was
their
Wuta
god.
in an arena? Because that sounds really familiar.
What is this, sand?
Mostly dirt, grass, looks like trees, flowers.
What
I am going to immediately look around for the tree. Which direction is it?
Well,
Because I want to see it.
where you have actually found yourself is, in some respects, a bit of another pocket dimension, although one with a permanent entrance and exit to the material plane. This is, in fact, the Shady AG garden created by Amethyst of the Heroes of Legend at the end of the last campaign, which is in itself intended to be a wild place where people can rest and be away from the rest of the world and be protected, but allowed to exist how they wish. But you do, as you look around, see that there is, a sort of opening in the sky, and beyond it, you see the trunk of a gigantic tree and buildings surrounding it.
So
I'll just see
Wuta,
Lynn like staring at it with big eyes and just like mouth agape. Just like, oh my god, I can't believe this.
I just keep pushing her chin up to like close her mouth. So, where you know about this place? What do you know? Where should we go? I mean, how does it work here?
Well, I know some of the history, but I've never actually been here myself, so new to me.
Okay. Do we see other people like outside, like walking around outside the Shady AG?
You do, yeah. And there's people around. It's kind of just there. The opening itself is near the temple at the center of town, where the base of the tree is, which is very big. Naturally, the city is kind of ring-like around this enormous world tree, known itself as Emerit Arboris, which legend has it has both roots and branches that spread across all the different dimensions and planes. However, it has certainly become your understanding more recently that there's lots of different little wrinkles and folds and pockets that don't necessarily get touched by the tree. But nonetheless, it's an impressive sight, easily, towering thousands and thousands of feet above the city, and to a point where it's a little bit difficult to maintain perspective on it. Your brain keeps trying to see it almost like a regular tree, and then you have to remind yourself that, oh wait, no, those little things at its base are buildings. But otherwise,
I wonder if they have any books about how they transverse between planes. It would be rather useful to get some intelligence while we're here.
I'm sure there's a library here.
If
I
I
won't do much for
remember
that.
if I remember the stories correctly, I think they train people how to travel the tree at the main temple. I don't know about a library.
Does
Wait,
anybody
y'all,
know
I'm
how much-
confused. This doesn't look like the city of Brass to me.
Oh, no. When did you leave? We sort of made an agreement, and since that plane could technically open up into any others, there was some decision to come here. I guess whatever energy or power directs your movement also brought you here, which is curious in its own self.
Shit, you're telling me. Did we manage to give back them amulets yet?
No, that's one of the
No.
things on our to-do list.
Oh, all
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
we'll have to figure out how much that's going to cost, but there was some idea that might be
I was squishing
easier
some little
here.
dude, and now I'm here. All right, let's go. What are we doing
Wait,
here?
you squished somebody?
Yeah, but it was a good thing because the other little dudes all cheered me and like I was their god, and then I'm here now. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah,
Has you been there before?
beats me. I wasn't there but a blink. I'm gonna have to look around.
Hmm.
It happens.
Okay.
So, 1 second I'm here, then I'm on another plane and another place, and then I come back, and I don't know, but it's very rare that I get drawn to the same place twice. So there must be some kind of hookup between us all. I don't know what's
I
that.
think
What's
you-
up with that?
I think you disappeared for a second just now. But thankfully you're back. I really do have to ask you a lot of questions about this, but I suppose we need to find a few establishments first.
Yeah, no problem.
I
When we
hope-
hunker down, we got some time. You can ask me all you want.
I don't
Good.
suppose you've ever been to Emerit Arboris before?
I don't reckon I have. I heard of it though. Everybody's heard of it. Tell the old stories, you know. Heroes of legend. Whew, man.
Carolina's just like holding back. She's like, nope, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. I'm just be cool.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Breathe. Breathe.
That one, she looks a little flustered. Is she okay?
Yeah, she she sort of has this thing about the heroes of legend. Like
Just very excited to be here.
she's their biggest fan.
Oh, she's a stan for the heroes and legends. I got it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
She's like their number one fan.
All right. All right. All right.
Don't know about that.
Okay. So what's next?
Well, hopefully you can find some
Um,
news and find out what's happened since we've been away too.
Library.
Well,
Wow.
why don't we I don't know, make our way out and see if we can find somebody who could give us a little direction and
Sure.
go from there.
Yep. But we owe you
Um,
guys a library, so we should find one.
Are we at all concerned with maybe we shouldn't walk around with the gray render just like,
That's a good point.
just saying.
I mean,
No
he is
offense,
our
Buster.
friend.
He's got, I mean,
He's kind of one of us now.
Well,
Yeah.
but you never know when he's gonna just like I don't
Yeah,
know.
like what if he sees a squirrel or something and he just like runs
I
after it?
think they probably have leash laws in Emerit Arboris.
I think as you're having this conversation, you glance over to Buster, who is absolutely staring at something that you can't see in the jungle, going like he's like got his head lowered and he's like starting to step towards it, like he's about to chase off after something.
It's very
Okay.
possible that Buster's going to get very distracted here.
I pull out the tower and hold it in my hand in front of Zinhorn.
I call Buster.
Okay. Go ahead and make an animal handling check.
I think Buster's leveled up in his independence. This could be bad.
Yeah. 11.
I think 11 is enough that like he at least looks away from what he's doing and he looks back at you and there's a little bit of a sense of like, but there was a thing.
What the bell rang?
Come on.
Oh, sulkily comes on over, but then he seems like he cheers up about it about halfway to you.
Okay. I'm gonna scratch him and tell him he's a good boy and do all the good things and then take him
Shrink him
inside the tower.
down before you come back out.
Okay.
Because I don't want him rampaging around there eating all our stuff. Throw him in the used pile of chewed up books.
So
Yeah.
certainly, you make. Is that what you do?
I do.
All right.
I'll get him shrunk down. I'll make sure he's got food and a
For-
nest, and then come back out.
Yes. For anyone just joining us, the Pocket Protectors have a magical tower that can fit in their pocket and allows them to recursively grow or shrink as they desire. They currently take their grizzly bear-sized gray render and make him the size of a guinea pig, at which point he is less destructive. All right.
Just less, just a little.
Well, I mean, he still works at it. It just takes longer.
But he was a big destructive. Now he's a little destructive.
Exactly.
I believe that's
Now
called
he only
plot.
eats like half a book.
All right. So, with Buster tucked away, you see the plaza, which is in front of the main temple, ahead of you. You venture out into the city.
Yep.
I think
We have like 3 things that we should probably do. Return the amulets. You guys want to find the library. And we should probably stock up on some provisions so, we don't like starve and stuff.
Well, in any sort of news, even local, because if that storm affected this place as well, there may be other outbreaks here. I certainly hope that this storm didn't use the tree, because that means it could have spread through a lot larger area. But
Well,
it
and
probably has some protection.
We should also be on the lookout for anyone who might be taking an interest in us.
Mhm.
I don't think that anybody's given up on us, so
I mean, I'm kind of concerned on whether or not we should try to contact Lord Yobert because, I mean, if they are monitoring his communications, I mean, Sequential has the secret communicating device that we had that Sorashana made. So,
Yep. I think it's worth it just to let them know that we're okay.
well, we he knows that much. Well, at least he did when we got to the plane of fire. I don't remember if I told you guys or not. Everything happened so fast. Yobert has Sequential and Evan.
mhm.
I don't have details, but they're with them, and I told him we were okay, and that was pretty much it.
Didn't you also say that? Did you tell us about the no that they're not messing around
That was
anymore?
before we went to the plane of fire. Yes,
Yeah.
the order has been changed uh from watch to capture, I think.
It's also been a few days since then, not to mention the fact that you haven't yet tested how long it's been that you were inside the Eternal Vaults.
Mhm.
You might want to contact them at some point, but for now, maybe them not knowing where we are might be the safest for both of us.
Well,
Mhm.
I agree that we shouldn't say where we are.
What if we say where we are after we leave? Because then maybe if they are monitoring, they would come here, but we would already be gone.
It'd just be easier to scry on us, I think, but
Yeah.
I mean, they could be. We need to see if we can find some kind of amulets that prohibit scrying.
that would be really expensive.
Yeah,
Just find
I
another
think
dragon, I suppose.
Christiana,
Mhm.
I don't remember how the geopolitics is set up, and I don't remember. I don't expect that Nedry would necessarily have a big interest in it, but he might know whether Emerit Arboris is within the Bashan Empire or if it's outside
Right.
of it.
It's a good question. It's not. And in fact, the southern mountains of which Mount Rushama is a part is basically the border because although there was probably interest, it was a lot easier for the empire to expand in other directions, and so they have not ever made it past those mountains, largely because a very powerful spirit resides there and would be uncooperative.
And also
so-
a big giant desert between,
Right, yeah. So it's
Yeah.
essentially not a very easy direction for the empire to expand, and so they focused most of their energy going the other way.
Okay. Do we see Imperial presence here, either
So,
casual
like,
or prominent?
certainly you might see people who are from that area, but you don't see, like, soldiers or anything because
Okay.
it's not part of the empire.
Right. I didn't know how far and wide they would be looking.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what you see is a very cosmopolitan population because, in particular, the presence of the tree here means that of the prime material plane, this is the location that it is absolutely the easiest to reach on the prime material plane from any other plane. So there's a lot more interplanar travel from going to and from here than anywhere else in the prime material plane.
And I'm trying to remember, did Trina come through here?
I believe that would no because she's from her own pocket, if you recall.
Right, but for some reason I'm tying that to she came through the tree from her pocket, but I might be wrong.
I don't think that was the case.
Okay.
It's been a little while since I looked up the lore, but I don't think that was the
Fair.
case. So the issue with Trina was that her people's pocket, the portal between it and the prime material plane only opens at certain times.
Okay.
So in any case, yes, this place is not Imperial territory. But at the same time, they have lots of people from all over, and that would include there not be any restrictions on people from the Empire coming here.
All right. So, should we go to commerce center, or is there a university here, or does anybody know anything?
Carolina, do you know what we can find
Mm,
here?
well, I only know what Siona has told me. She lived here for a while. Trying to see what I could. I'm trying to think of what I might know.
Hmm.
'Cause I know the Heroes of Legend stories,
Yeah.
but I don't know what Siona might have told me about her time here.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, so if you want to make a history check, we can maybe
Yeah,
get.
I'll do that.
Sure.
Ooh, 19.
19. Okay. Yeah, so you remember basics, right? Not so much that it would let you necessarily navigate through, but you certainly know that there are, the ring-like structure of the city itself, like there's the old city, which is the part that had previously existed during all of the time where the tree was encased in amber on the astral sea, but the city has certainly grown quite a bit since then, and it has grown outward, and so there's different, a couple of different rings going further out and creating different neighborhoods. But certainly you are in the old city right now, near the temple at the base of the tree. It's likely that one of the acolytes or people who work at the temple would be able to offer some like guidance and information. But you also know that because the tree is the primary sort of like source of, transport, it is around the base of the tree at a different area that the sort of for lack of
Visitor center?
the portal port, the yeah, or rather, like the sort of transportation hub of where people come and go is nearby as well. And to be sure, things like arranging to have amulets sent to the eternal plane of, the elemental plane of fire, that's generally where you would go for that. But you are going to find that if you wanted to try to, for example, find a place to stay, it's going to be more expensive further in and less expensive if you go a little bit further, out into the outer rings. And if you are looking for the library, I don't I don't think Siona would have necessarily been the one who spends a lot of time in the library. Right. So I would imagine you know of a couple of clubs that were the popular places when she was here, which wasn't.
Which was a while ago.
Yeah. But you know at the very least that it's a city. It's going to have a lot of the same sorts of things that big cities do, meaning, just about whatever you can think of, there's probably, it can be found somewhere. It's just a matter of knowing who to talk to and having them point you the way.
So I think our best bet would probably be to head to. I feel like we'll get the best information at the temple. But more towards the center of the tree, that's where we'll be able to find. I'm sure there's all kinds of people offering to give guided tours like they do in Pishan. But yeah, that's where we're gonna find, interplanar couriers and things like that. So either way, we need to go towards the center of town.
At least here, they won't have to contend the fact that the city changes very often. They might even be able to have a competent map.
Possible.
A map of a city?
I know it's not really possible in Pishan, but it could happen here.
Other maps?
I mean, there are maps. I have not made a map of Emerit Arboris, but I mean, those are things that could be found.
So
But-
do we see vendors or anything like that on
I
the
mean,
streets?
so
or-
where you are is a relatively, it's a kind of a slightly out of the way spot because it is, the place where people go to venture into the shady AG. So, as it's a little bit less busy there. It's a little bit quieter by design in the the sort of little courtyard that leads up to that. But just beyond, you can see the central plaza where there's a lot of activity. In fact, you can see some people doing various little bits of performance art. There's a group of tabaxi dancers in colorful costumes that seem to be doing some sort of a choreographed dance. And then there's a couple of people playing, music that only just barely doesn't conflict with one another, because it's basically different corners where, they're trying to each play their own thing, but you can still kind of hear the other ones wherever you're standing, and they're not all playing the same thing. But there's also, of course, some sellers, but at the same time, right here is in front of the temple itself, which doesn't look like it's really big for commerce. However, you, as discussed, would know that you just follow the trunk around and you'll get to the place where that's probably not the case.
I can say one
Temple
thing.
might have some
Can't really get
information.
lost.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Right,
pretty much
into the
anywhere in the
temple.
city, where the, well, there's the tree.
So to the
So
temple.
as we go along, I will start spewing everything and anything that I know about this place and how it relates to the story of the heroes of legend, and anything else Leona might have told me as over the years. So
I think as you are making your way towards the entrance of the temple, it is very clearly like a really old building, but there's been spots on it where you can see like scaffolding and like fabric draped over it, where it seems like they're trying to restore certain parts of it or just keep it from deteriorating further while still maintaining the original structure. And there's some activity going on inside, but you see pretty quickly as you are approaching the main entrance, there's a very tall sign, tall and skinny sign that has an arrow pointing to one side, and the sign has many lines of text, each one in a different language. There's common, draconic, elvish, dwarven, undercommon, deep speech, abyssal, primordial, and it's just all of them down the line. But if you find one of the lines that you are able to read, it just says, "First time here?" and then an arrow.
well, that's the way we'll go.
All right.
So you do also get a little bit of that Jack Skellington, what's this vibe as Caroline is going along. Yeah.
Okay, so if you follow that sign, there is a line of bricks paved into the pathway that way that's just different colors than the rest. So like there's this line of red bricks that is clearly making like pointing a direction. And you realize now that it matches sort of the color of the arrow on the sign. But as you follow that along, there is a little circular, like kiosk, where there is a young tabaxi woman sitting behind the desk wearing a temple acolyte's uniform, and she looks up to see you approach and just says, "Common?"
Yes,
Yes.
please, thank you.
Among other
Welcome.
things.
Welcome to Emerit, Arboris. I assume that you found yourself here. You are looking for some information.
Correct, yes.
Welcome. How can I help you?
Where do we want to start? Well, I think the easiest thing is we need an interplanar courier service to deliver something to the elemental plane of fire, if that matters on specificity.
And she just says, so yeah, we obviously you can find that at the transportation center. That's I can give you directions. Anything else?
And
A
look at
library.
Nedry.
Well, to start with the map, hopefully indicating
She nods and reaches to like below the desk, and there's a stack of just big unfoldable maps. And I think it's a little cartoony, but it certainly has some of the main landmarks standing out like a little bit out of scale, so that they're a little more noticeable and
What I'm
labeled.
picturing is like the maps from like Disneyland
Yeah.
and
Yeah, no,
like
that's
amusement
you're
park
very-
maps.
the
Absolutely,
tourist map.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so
Well-
she says, and the other side is a zoom in of the old city. Since
This will-
that's the was designed all just for when it was all smaller, so it's a little bit more labyrinthine.
this will do for a start. I'm sure we can find a more detailed map somewhere.
Y'all ever heard of the heroes of legend around here?
She kind of just gives you a look like,
Just like embarrassed, like, oh my god, he's new.
is that a joke?
No, I just knew that like a couple of them were from here, so I was
Oh,
wondering
yeah.
if you get.
Yes, very much
are they-
so. Yes, absolutely. We have a lot of history here. Of course, the heroes of legend are responsible for the city's return to the prime material plane 100 years ago. So they are certainly notable historical figures around here, and of course, some of them still reside here today.
Well, kiss my
Right.
grits.
I moved to make sure that if Carolina faints, I can catch her.
Yeah, I'm like fanning her with my cloak because I know she's hyperventilating.
Nedry's
I know all
buried
this stuff.
behind the
I
map,
know all
trying
this stuff.
not to
I
see
know all
all
this
this.
stuff.
Well, wait. You're telling me that it's been like 100 years, but there's still like some of them still like live here? Yeah, I mean, I guess 100 years ain't very that long, but
Well, it of course depends on a number of things, but several of the heroes of legend were of longer lived races, and of course Amethyst as an archdruid and embodiment of the tree in many respects has quite a lengthened life as well.
wow, that's pretty fancy. All right, thank you very much.
This may seem like an odd question, but what day is it?
That helps.
Tuesday?
Like
What
there.
Specifically?
Is that the day that you expected it to be?
I'm missing some context, so month and day and year, please.
So without getting into like specifics of calendar,
Developing a calendar.
because to be sure, for the
Create a
world of
calendar
say
for us on
come
the fly.
in, I never did come up with the idea that, oh yes, this is the month of Blernswee and in the season of Kashdu. No, I didn't ever do any of that. So
That's the only month we have in this world. Learn
what you discover is that you were apparently in the Eternal Waltz for 4 days.
I just keep picturing Michael Biehn in Terminator. What year? What
Yeah.
year?
Oh, he's great. Anyway. Yeah, so you discover, you were in the Eternal Waltz for 4 days, and so that means it's been about a week since you escaped into the Eternal Plane of Fire. I keep saying Eternal, Elemental Plane of Fire. Its eternal qualities have not yet been tested.
And is there a source of news, a paper, or something else?
Well, I suppose that depends. What kind of news are you looking for?
Material plane specifically. Current
Well,
events?
Probably, I mean, I know some, of course, but if you're looking for more official sources, probably the library is the place to go. Of course, they have a wide selection of older books, but if they also maintain what stock there is of periodicals that make the way around.
And looking at the map, is the library indicated, or is it
Yeah,
not a
it
tourist?
is. No, it's there's a library on the map. It's not far.
Is there on the map? Are there any like touristy heroes of legend places that we can
Oh, for sure.
kind of visit?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll just mark some of those off so we can go visit them for Carolina.
Yeah, like one of them is it is the preserved home of Cadence of the Water, where it's where she lived, and it's been preserved in its original state, and you can go do like tours through there and everything.
Like where she grew up with her
Yeah.
mom and stuff.
Yeah, it's just like
Where the
here in
heroes
Boston.
of legend had a slumber party.
Here in Boston, you can go to like Paul Revere's house. It's basically the same kind of thing.
That's
Yeah, they have the
awesome.
Edgar Allan Poe house here, so yeah.
This original rock was part of a house, and the house was great.
I'm not sure if we're going to be staying that long, but does it cost to travel through the tree? And can you travel from anywhere in this material plane? Or to anywhere?
Well, travel through the tree does require a special training. It's not just something that's easy for anyone to do. However, it can be managed by people who haven't had all the training if you have a guide. And although it's theoretically possible you could find a guide who would be willing to do it for free, it's customary to offer compensation.
And that compensation would be how much?
Well, that would be negotiated between you and a guide, and it would be probably dependent on the relative risk of the place that you're trying to travel to. It's a little bit more unfriendly to travel to the lower plains than, say, going to a nice place.
True. This training you were talking about, does it take a long time to learn?
Well, I suppose it depends on what you consider a long time, but it's not something you can do over a weekend, if that's what you mean.
More on the scale of years, but
Yeah, it's on that level. I think that as you gain confidence and experience, it is what you're looking for someone who's going to bring untrained individuals along with them. You generally want someone who's been doing it a while.
would be valuable to know. Our business tends to deal with different pocket planes and other planes of existence. And it would be nice to have a different mechanism for doing it, but I may stick to my own spells for now then.
All right. Well, if you have any further interest, the transportation hub, as I previously mentioned, is also where you would be able to hire a guide if you were so inclined.
Now, is there also a circle there, like a transportation circle?
Yes, indeed, there is a permanent transportation circle there at the transportation center.
Good to know.
And they have there, once again, if you're not able to cast the spell yourselves, that is another thing that you can purchase as a service. There are transportation circles also established in Pashan and Villanocta.
What about the temple? Is that a temple of Rashama?
This is a temple to Emerit Arboris.
Ah.
I believe there is a temple of Rashama, but it's not this one.
Okay. If you could point that out on the map.
I think she asks for your copy of the map, and she circles a little spot that's not like specifically noted as a location.
Okay.
Could I get an extra copy of the map?
Well, sure.
Yeah, just a spare.
Is
She doesn't have to
there-
write on it or anything.
Is there a gift shop so we can get a frame for that to put in our room
Well,
house?
as it happens, there is. And in fact, if you go just around the corner there, you can actually purchase pre-framed prints of the map if you're interested.
Excellent. Good to know.
Just kind of
Say
looking
that like I
around
don't
now
have
for
a
that.
scrapbook.
Looking
I
around for
bet
that.
they do.
that gallery of brochures that's in every tourist location you ever go to of like, oh, check out the Screaming Canyons and the Snotty Brook, and you know,
The Snotty Brook.
The endless void.
star.
If you
not
stare
really
long
endless.
enough, it stares back at you.
Yeah, she says, they got all sorts of other stuff too. And she like flips over a lapel and she's got a little button there that says, I like Emerit Arboris so much, I never want to leave.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
Oh, what door have you opened?
All right, Carolina, we have to go to the gift shop.
Thank you so much for your help.
Of course, that's why we're here. Well, among other things.
So, we will go out.
So, yeah, if you're going to go to the transportation center, basically there's a path that just literally leads just right around the central trunk of the tree, because the transportation hub is also adjoining it, but just kind of like around the other side of it. Is that where you're
Since
headed?
it's right here.
Is that where you're headed?
I'm just following Carolina because she's the boss of Emerit Arboris.
Nobody wants that.
She wanted to come here more than anybody. So,
I'm just so excited.
So we're going to the transportation center.
Okay. Yeah, I think as you're heading around there, you certainly do start seeing a lot more of those signs where there's very basic instructions or directions given in a number of different languages. There's a lot more people around, and you definitely start to see a lot more, vendor stalls selling all sorts of both import and export items, things from other planes that might be hard to get without going there, or travel goods, or, hey, for example, buy some cold weather clothing if you're going to Limbo or whatever, and that sort of stuff. And then there's also a lot of different, like, colored pathways and branching routes that go to ROUTEs routes, going to different directions that basically give instructions on where you're trying to go. But there's also a big structure that seems to be like the main event, so to speak. Like there's different sub parts of it to go, but that seems to be the sort of main causeway, the terminal, so to speak.
While we're walking, I want to kind of scan the crowd and look for people that are like me.
Okay.
Because the only people like me that I've ever seen really are Carolina, and Carolina's really not like me, but
yeah,
there are no people like you.
There are, however, there are some dark elves. Like you see
right.
several other, like this is a relatively big crowd, and it's pretty diverse in the sense of not only having many of the the races that you're familiar with in Pashan, but also just a higher percentage of some of the races that would originate from other planes. Like you see some Githyanki and Genasi and all sorts of different races. You see a couple of centaurs and lots of different people. But go ahead and make I guess, investigation check, because it's, or I suppose perception would be okay too if you prefer.
They're the same, pretty much.
Ooh, 21. Yeah, you do spot a couple. In fact, what you notice, sort of first and foremost, is they're wearing great big hats and sunglasses.
Like me.
Yeah, because it is, in fact, actually, it is a bright and sunny day. You have come around on this side where you're not in the shade here, as the as the sun beats down. But it is bright, but not too hot. It's actually, the weather's pretty cool right now, like especially compared to where you've been of late. So it's not so cool that you're like cold, but it's brisk, but bright. And you do see a couple of dark elves just in the crowd.
I will stare, but no one will know because I'm wearing sunglasses.
Okay. Yeah, they seem to just be shopping.
Living their best lives.
Mm-hmm. Right. Do you
Is
go
anybody
in?
selling paper?
I don't think you see any of that here.
Okay.
You probably don't want to buy things really close to the inner part of
Yeah.
town because it's very touristy, and so the prices will be inflated accordingly.
I think that, yeah, so, and Nedry, I think that for sure, a city this size will have somewhere that sells spellbook paper and the like.
True.
Probably multiple places. You just don't see any right here. This is basically like airport shops.
17 bottles of water. That's how many it costs. 17 gold.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think you do see a sign posted up by one of the entrances of the terminal that says, extra planar courier service.
That's where we should go.
Okay.
Let's go.
So, without necessarily needing to role play the whole encounter, because you kind of have a specific thing that you're looking to do, I think what you find is that they have that the city of Brass is one of the places that they don't necessarily have quite as firm as definitive a relationship with, because although they can absolutely get the stuff there to some extent because it's controlled by the Ifrit in the city of Brass, it has to be secondarily negotiated there. However, if you can basically sign a thing that gives like some discretion to the courier to basically make that negotiation on your behalf, but it just means that it kind of costs more, and they don't give you change unless you stick around to wait, right?
Okay.
But basically, what they tell you is that you can, for an extra fee, also include a sending, both to let the recipient know that it's on its way via courier, and also to confirm receipt when it arrives. And that overall, to deliver these amulets in the fashion that you are describing will be 150 gold.
Do we have that?
I have like 282.
I've got 30 platinum,
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
300 gold.
so I can pay for that.
So while they're like working out, the funds and everything, I want to send a quick missive to Yobert saying, and any chance for, basically asking for, how can we get some more money?
Okay.
Because it's been a while.
Can we have our allowance, please?
Yeah.
Dad.
Dad!
So it's not hey, we're alive, we're
Right.
safe, we've traveled there. It's can we have some more money?
That's what
Well,
you say to your
I
parents.
have the sending stone, so I can do all
Sure.
of these things, but like
Yeah.
in whatever order.
Well, one other thing that I'll mention too, just that I think would probably occur to you, is that a big city like this that has lots of magic individuals, if you, for example, had any magic items that you weren't using, you could potentially sell those. Although selling a magic item is not necessarily, unless you're willing to take a pretty low price, it can take a little while, right, to find the right buyer who's going to give you what it's worth as opposed to quick sale. So, but
and
that's
the magic items we have, I don't know that I would want in anybody else's hands. Just saying.
Well, we have some lesser magic items that aren't, chock full of evil.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's
Yeah.
true. There's the external skeleton.
Yeah, that suit that you had.
They
that
do also have
you
to
never
purchase
wear.
some spell
so
ingredients.
so do you want to? I because it's fun. I'm going to make you do the 25 words that she sent to Yobear.
Okay. All good here. Could use our what would you call it? Salary. Hope everyone's safe.
Mm-hmm.
Not kidnapped.
Yeah.
Not on fire anymore. Mostly. It's 15. I have 10 more.
Yeah.
Untraceable payment possible? I don't
Tell
know.
Evan I said hi.
No NFTs,
Yeah, okay.
please.
So got 2 more words if you include tell Evan I said hi.
Thanks. Bye.
All right. I think what you get back is Carolina, very glad to hear you're all right. Currently floating in Sunia above the Eastern Ocean. Might be difficult to send money at this time. I think there was actually
Roger
more
that.
words, but
Yeah. Roger that. We'll figure it out.
We are fine here for the moment. However, the Empire is actively hunting you now. And us, which is why we are somewhere that if they scry us, they will only see water.
I'm thinking.
We don't have that luxury at the moment. Hopefully, leaving here soon, bound for other parts. Being very non-specific, because I have no idea anyway.
So more or less, like, don't have to use all the words every time. They say, everyone here wishes you well. Hopefully we can compare notes soon. Right now, it's tricky. Be careful.
I will leave it at that.
While we're doing messages, we promised to send a message to Sislovic saying if we found a method of removing corruption, and we have.
Mhm.
So,
What do you say exactly?
Well, how do you have the sending spell?
I do not.
As a
I
cleric,
don't
you
think-
can prepare it, but if you don't have it currently prepared, you need to do a long rest first.
I mean, I have it. I can do it, but like sending a sending to a spirit is like, oh my god, does that work?
Yeah, it'll work.
I was like,
okay.
I could try.
Is it called? Is it? Oh yeah, it's called sending. It's a 3rd level spell.
Mhm.
Yeah, I would need to change my spells out tonight to do it.
Well, you could do that then tomorrow.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we won't be dead.
By
That would
tomorrow.
be nice.
Never know.
All right,
Okay.
so you did pay for the courier service, right?
Yeah, I did.
Horn? Okay. And did you say the gift shop is near the?
Well, so there is the temple gift shop that you kind of left behind coming here, but this place also certainly it has its own sort of gift shop, and you would guess that it's like it's a lot of the same stuff, but it's also like a question of like are you helping to support the transportation center or the temple? You know, it's like but you would imagine that a lot of the stuff is the goods are in common. Shared between them. And the point is, like you get the same things.
All right, we'll go to the gift shop later before we leave and get matching T-shirts.
I'd like to see if they got any rabbit's feet.
Okay.
I need some luck.
Yeah. I think. Are you looking just for the standard thing that mundane, or you're not looking for like a magic item necessarily?
No, just a standard rabbit's foot.
Gosh. Let's together decide what's the Seikamian equivalent of a rabbit's foot.
Oh,
like, do we
I
want
hope
to
it's
just
not
like
on a
Almirage?
What is it,
Almirage.
Almirage,
It's
yeah.
like, oh no.
An Almirage horn.
Yeah.
Jackalope.
I mean, that one wasn't lucky.
Jackalope.
Maybe we can find a fake one.
Owlbear paw. I don't know.
Oh, so here what it is it's an Almirage horn on a keychain, but it has a little sticker on it that says it's artificial.
Sustainably sourced.
I don't want it. It's okay.
Or no, okay, here no, this is better. Almirage periodically shed the horn and grow new ones like antlers.
Okay.
And so you can buy the recovered ones.
I'll take that. All right.
All right. Is it? Do you get the one that's just loose or the one that's on a keychain?
The one that's on a keychain. I just put it on my belt.
Nice. Yeah. So you've got a little unicorn horn, sort of spirally looking thing, about 4 inches long.
And as I sort of like pull back my coat to hitch it to my belt, you guys see almost like going around my belt are all these supposed lucky charms just kind of dangling down, and this is just another one added to the collection.
Oh, he has a hobby too.
One of these days I'm gonna stop. One of these items is gonna stop me from like bouncing around. One of these days.
Tried to remove curse.
Yeah, I've tried everything under the blue sky and green waters. I've tried everything.
So, if it's not too personal, how long have you been doing this? Bouncing around and poofing in and out of places.
Honestly, it's kind of messed with my sense of time. It's been a few years at least, maybe longer.
Where are you from originally?
I don't know. I mean, I kind of have like a feeling of where I might be from, but I can't say for certain because, like I said, bouncing around all this time, it's kind of messed with my sense of everything. I don't really know much about my past. I know I had parents. I know they were good to me. I know nobody died when I was a kid. And I know that when I decided to go down the path I chose, I got trained up, got sent out, and then I don't know what it was. There was no catalyst, nothing I can pinpoint, at least in my memory, that started all this.
What path did you choose?
Well, the way of the wise, the way of the monk's path, the path of wisdom and peace.
Well, I don't know if there's any overlap, but if you recall the story of the heroes of legend, Mugen the Magnificent was part of believe it was Huli Jing, that whole temple. I don't know that she really has a temple, but I do know at one point I believe they were training people. I don't know where it's located. I'm not super familiar with that one. They're very secretive. They keep it close to the vest.
We'll have to conduct some experiments. I may be able to send you home, but given your current condition, you'd probably just pop right back. Also,
Yeah.
you may also serve as an arcane focus at some point, but I haven't exactly figured that out yet either. It has to do with
Also, I mean, there's the
vibration.
whole thing, like, if, some spirit just chooses you for stuff, like, you never know. They're just like, poof, you're here. Poof, you're here. Poof, you're
Yeah,
here.
that's
Seems like the kind of thing a spirit would do.
So there was no inciting event, like your dog didn't bite the town witch or something.
no, nothing like that. I was just walking along. Actually, I wasn't even walking along. I was just taking a rest underneath a tree. And then all of a sudden, bam, I was in the middle of some brouhaha. And then bam, I was back under the tree. And then I was fine for a little while. They seem to be coming more frequently these days, to be honest with you.
You don't happen to always see a tree, do you?
No, I don't always.
Sort of
see it.
gestures up at the large tree hanging over all of us.
Yeah, no, I thought of that, but no, I don't always see a tree. It just happens when it happens, I mean, I was with you guys in the crazy carnival there, and I just bamfed out of that plane of existence into another plane of existence, So I don't know what kind of deity or creature or god or whatever is controlling all this, but whew, I tell you.
But
They
you
want
came
me-
back to us. You said that that's not something that
Yeah,
usually
it rarely
happens.
ever happens that I show up back in the same spot or with the same people that I left. So I'm not quite sure what's going on there or like what the connection is, but I don't know. It might have been just a fluke. If I should happen to bamf out again and you never see me again, well then we'll know. But if I bamf out and then bamf back, well then yeah, there's got to be some kind of connection.
So, does it seem like there's something to be done each time you go somewhere?
No, I mean, sometimes it seems that there might be a purpose for something, but it happens so fast that I don't rightly know. Like it felt like I just sat on a tomato a little while ago, but I ended up sitting on some little guy. And
what is the phrase? When a butterfly flaps its wings on the golden plains, a hurricane starts.
right, yeah,
Villanocta or something like that. I don't know.
something like that. Yeah, who
I think
knows?
that's largely a myth, but it's a nice thought, I suppose. So you're saying that you don't know why and where it began, but every once in a while you travel to a different place with different people, maybe with something to do and never actually knowing if you're ever going to make it back home.
Exactly. Precisely. You got it.
And is there no constant companion, nothing that ties any of this together? Like, do you ever
Nothing
meet
that
the
I've been
same
able to-
person?
Nothing that I've been able to figure out. You see, I'm y'all hear that?
He does that.
Oh, nothing I've been able to figure out. All I know is that I'm here with you fine folks now, and we'll just see how it goes. Right now, I'm still feeling a little tingly from my last trip, but I'm just along for the ride. So,
Well,
I'm doing
if
okay.
you start having bad dreams, let us know immediately, okay?
Mhm.
Oh, you
Yeah,
got
that's
it.
important.
Why, is that like a tell or something?
Well, you know how with the dragon and the thing that
We
we had
actually
to
haven't
fight
told him, have we?
Oh, we didn't really get to talk to him at all
because
because
he just like poops out.
Yeah, I just kind of poop out.
Maybe I'm looking around and we're like still standing in a public place. Maybe we should discuss that somewhere a little more, private.
Yeah, we're fine. We're fine. We can pick this back up later. You all, come on. Let's do what you all wanted to do. It's all good.
yeah. So let's walk. Do you want to go to the library, Nedry, before it explodes?
Preferably. Also,
Okay.
I'm kind of curious if there's any local news. The exact spread of that storm or that pulse would be curious to see what it affected here, if anything.
Mhm.
Well,
Mhm.
you know,
These
the
are the
best
notes.
place to get the real gossip around town is usually a pub, and that's where I'm most comfortable. But you are more comfortable in the library.
Well, I'm not
So,
after gossip. I'm after facts.
well, but it is astonishing how useful gossip can actually be. So, I don't generally like splitting up, but I think we could cover more ground that way.
Okay. I'm going to the library. I've been trying to get there for ages.
I know, and I would never want to stop you. But I think I would be of more use um in my own element.
I'm happy to
Okay.
go to the library with you and Nedry.
I
Okay.
guess I'll go with Carolina then.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
It'll
have
be
her own
fun.
box.
It'll be a chance for us to get to know each other a little bit better.
Sure. All right. Where are we
Sure, you've
going?
got all kinds of stories.
So how will we find you?
Mm,
I mean, I know you're not coming to the library. I mean, I've seen you in the tavern before. It's hard to get you out of there.
about what time do we think it is right now? Like,
Uh,
I mean,
I
you can
think
probably see where the sun is. but-
there's actually, in fact, a here and there in the city on big sort of almost like lampposts. There are clocks, and right now it is about 2:30 in the afternoon.
Well, we could meet back up for dinner, maybe.
Okay.
You have a copy of the map, right?
I
Maybe
do.
pick a landmark there that we can meet by.
Well, I think um I'll have a look around, but I will let you know where we end up. And so then I don't know what time the library closes, but maybe meet up for dinner. I'll find somewhere for all of us to kind of congregate.
Okay. Well, you could send us a message to
Yes.
tell us where to meet you.
And if we're not there, you will know something bad has happened.
Okay.
As long as you're not too far away, I might be able to find you. But
Well, I will try not to go too far.
I mean, you have Uta with you. The both of you could just disappear.
He's pretty handy in a fight.
I do what I can.
Dope monk shit. All right. And, so we'll see you guys later.
Have fun with your books.
Oh,
Hopefully.
well.
No,
Let's go get a drink.
Or two.
As we start walking away, I'm like telling Nedry about how I figured out how to, get things for planar keys from that book I read while he was out riding in the desert, and I was reading books to try to find stuff about traveling through the different planes and like different methods of planar travel, because that was one of the books I found when I was looking through the library in the tower. So
All right. So yeah,
I'm like, super proud of myself.
we will follow the library team first as you're making your way through the city streets, and certainly as you get close, you see that this library building is actually one of the taller buildings in its immediate vicinity. It seems to be. It's hard to tell exactly how many floors it is inside because there's not like a row of windows every story or anything like that. It's largely windowless except for a couple spots here and there. But you would gather that depending on the height of the ceilings inside, there's at least 5 floors inside. And it's a very big building, the big building at the base of it too. So it's pretty big compared to the big libraries in Pashan or what you've heard of Villanacta. It's not that big, but it's pretty big. Certainly a lot bigger than you would find in any kind of like small town. And what you also see, Nedry, on your way there is that adjoining the library, sort of at the base, clearly a separate business, but conveniently located, is a shop that sells all manner of spellcasting components and supplies.
Do we need to
Logical.
stop here first?
It would be good if I could get a few more pages.
Okay.
I have a lot of spells to work on.
All right, so we'll stop there first.
Inside, it is one of those shops that, if I don't know if everyone has seen those shops in like Chinatown type sort of places that have like thousands of little tiny drawers that each have slightly different like herbal things, for example.
Mhm.
It's like that, except that basically the idea is that all manner of different spellcasting components can be found here, and they all have their own little drawers that are, meant to keep them separate so that they don't interact with one another, especially some of the more unpredictable ones. But certainly, spellbook quality paper and ink is readily available.
Okay. No doubt that Nedry would be somewhat distracted by the rows and rows of things, but I don't have a particular list of things at the moment. It's mostly kind of,
Sure.
I will be needing
Well,
some
you
things in the
have
future.
you use a focus anyway, so you don't usually need as many of the.
Right. There's only a few specific ones that require this or that. So
Right. So
but-
yeah. So how about this? You don't necessarily need to know them now, but if there's a time in the future where it makes sense that you would have thought to buy something, we can, essentially say retroactively that you bought it here.
Perfect.
And arrange the, deduct from the cost, you know what I mean? Like we can, yeah. So I think that's fair. If you realize later, oh wait, this spell would have needed this and I just didn't remember, we can say Nedry remembered and bought it when you were here.
Yep.
All right. So, certainly, per the wizard spellbook rules, it has it. The amount is based on the cost of it. So you can go ahead and buy as much as you can afford, or choose to.
Yeah, he'll set aside the entire 29 platinum he has basically to supply himself, and a lot of it goes right into the bag, and he'll sort through it later.
I have a technical question.
Mm-hmm.
When you need components for spellcasting, does it say it consumes them if it consumes them, or can you continue to use the same?
So the way that it
Components.
works is that when it lists components, any component that is listed without a price associated with it can be replaced if you're using a focus, right? Like you don't need the component if you have a focus for the things that have no price listed. For the things that do have a price listed, you do need to have it, but it is only consumed if it says that it is. So for example, the identify spell requires that you have a pearl, but you keep the pearl. You don't have to replace the pearl every time.
Okay.
But if it says, a $50, 50 gold, ivory statue that is consumed, then that is consumed.
All right.
Mm-hmm. But so do you proceed from then into the library then?
Yep.
All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and show you this very fancy library map then. Let me adjust for the tokens that are not currently present. But I'm going to put us on the map screen here in Roll20. And put you on the right page there. And you know what? I will be compassionate to the players that are not there and put their tokens just in the corner so that they can, see what everyone else is seeing. So there's a small, initial entrance here that opens into a big sort of lobby area where there's a reception desk. There's green carpet with an elaborate giant bird or owl of some kind in the floor, and it's just a very elaborate, high-ceilinged, fancy-looking building. You can already see both to the left and right. There's some rooms with books lining the shelves, prominent information desk, of course, and then beyond is a set of double doors and windows leading to what looks like an indoor little sort of like oddly, it's like a little garden pond sort of thing area, and then beyond in a little central courtyard.
Whoa. Okay.
I mean, are you seeing the map?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Nedry will walk up to the reception desk. Actually, step back a couple of feet so he can be seen.
Sure. Welcome to the Emerit Arboris Library. Is this your first visit?
Yes.
If I could just have you sign the register here, please. And she kind of offers just a big ledger.
Okay. Are there other names on the ledger or just?
Oh yes, it is. I mean, it's full. It's page after page of names and so on. And she says, you must use a name that is magically linked to you. It is just how we ensure that we know who is in the building, and if there would be any damage, we can link it to the appropriate individual.
No, not wise. He'll sign right away.
Okay.
I will also sign it.
I will also sign.
Okay. Yeah. Welcome. Is this you mentioned your first visit, so as you see, we've got here these rooms to the left and right are what is available to individuals who have not signed the register. But if you pass through the central courtyard, there are more reading rooms on the other side, and as well you will find the stairs that lead up to the other levels. Is there a particular subject of interest you are here to research?
Numerous. But for the moment, current news or anything that might be about recent events would be one place to start.
Well, periodicals. We have several weeks' worth of the newspapers, both here and in Emerit Arboris, and what we have received from Pashan and Villanocta, and you can find those archived in the rear left back room. And she's basically like through the little courtyard in the rear left. That is where you'll find those.
Does your library have a specialty of any kind?
Well, I don't know that we have any particular specialty. However, it is certainly true that with all the extraplanar travel that comes through our city, I would dare say we have a better collection of books from other planes than even the larger libraries in Pashan or Villanocta.
I will have a lot more questions, but that's it for now, for me.
I would like to look at your section on religion.
Yes, well, I believe that you would find that in our Chronometer Room, which is just one floor up.
Christiana, did we get the guide before we left the Eternal Waltz on Gray Renders?
You talked about it, but you did never actually get anything in your hand.
Okay. I'm looking specifically for books on Gray Renders and possibly on training them, but any material at all on the creatures known as Gray Renders.
Creatures, you say?
Yes.
Exotic fauna?
Yes.
Yes, I believe that would be in the Violet Reading Room on the 4th floor.
Okay. All right. Nedry, where are you going to be? Because I doubt you're going to move once you get started. So we can come back to you in an hour or two just to check in.
I'm going to check the periodicals and current news, especially local first, but I do have intention to see what else is here. I'll be back to the desk to ask where that will be, but I have a list of questions.
Okay.
Do you need help right now?
No, I think I'm all right.
Okay. Well, if you do, let us know. Like if you need help sorting through stuff or whatever.
Of course, I'll probably have a pile by a few minutes.
Okay.
All right. So as you make your way past the desk, if you uh, travel in through this little central courtyard area, you find that although it does have a ceiling, it's humid in there, and it is just kind of like a strange, oddly like sandy little oasis almost, with a little pond here and a bridge over it. The pond, as you look down into it, though, is strangely deep, and there's definitely a sense of flow in the water and of magic. Kind of, you can almost feel it prickling in the air. And as you watch down in the water, you see a couple of little humanoid frog creatures that seem to be busily tending to some kind of an algae growing under the surface.
Oh, they're little froggos.
Oh, Nedry, you're actually the periodical room was the one through the courtyard to this back left one where I'm pinging.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
That's okay.
How do we get upstairs?
So as you
Over
pass
here.
through there, once you're in this northern area, you can see that there's these stairs that curl up around
Oh,
to the
those are
side. Yeah, so
stairs.
there's a big set of stairs that split, and then both side directions go upward.
Okay.
All right. And I'll just go ahead and shout out briefly that all the maps here are once again coming from the CZE and Peku Patreon, which is incredible and has amazing maps like this gigantic library map that we're using today.
It's awesome.
Yeah. So I'll go ahead and just show the next level up, even if Nedry's staying down here for the moment. I'm just going to... I've got all of the tokens on here just because I wasn't sure who was going to be
Beautiful.
here.
Gorgeous.
Yeah. So this is the room that she called the Chronometer Room, where the religion books would be. And one of the things that you notice here is that this central pillar has a set of stairs leading up to what looks like a cleverly disguised mechanical space in the ceiling, right? Like there is something that must be on the next level up that this is like the mechanics for. And so it's tastefully sort of designed to look like part of this room, but it seems like it's mostly the access, and it's got a little velvet rope across it. It's clearly not the intended way to go up. Right, it's just like so you see that up there, but you can also just basically continue up. It's a little hard to see on the map here, but you can just keep going up from those stairs. And so let's move Wutan, Carolina off here, and Nedry off here, just because that's not where he is at the moment. But then as you keep going further up Zinhorn, you would go to the next level up, where you would see that there's an elaborate orrery in this room, which is like a model of a solar system sort of thing. And this is obviously the thing for which the mechanics are for. And there's a lot of shelves in this room as well. But you can continue going upward and reach the Violet Reading Room, which is the 4th floor, where you were told you would find. Oh, I don't think I put your tokens on this one. Hang on. Bloop. There you go. And
Does there appear to be an information desk or?
oops. No, but there are little points on some of the like on the end pieces of some of the shelves that seem to have like a little sort of mechanical device on them, and there's a question mark and like a button.
Okay. I'm gonna push the button.
Okay. As you push the button, you find that, in a voice that's basically only just loud enough for you to hear as you stand right next to it, you hear sort of a magical voice emanate from the device that says, "Please state your query. If you need another language, press the button again, and then it starts to, go through other languages."
I say, gray render.
Uh, and you hear from inside an almost kind of startling ka-chunk, 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 like mechanical sound. And then there's a little slot that sticks out a piece of paper, and it says exotic fauna, and it gives like a little index thing.
Okay. I'm gonna go in search of the index.
Okay. Make an investigation check.
Natural 1.
Yeah, I think that whatever, like this little card that it gave you clearly seems like it's supposed to be instructions, but you're not getting whatever it is that it's like telling you to look for. Like you're looking at a lot of shelves and you're not seeing anything that matches what this card says. And I think you're kind of just at a loss. It's like it's in code and you don't have the key somehow.
Okay. I'm gonna ask somebody.
Okay. So I've got a variety of little tokens in here just to represent that there are other people here. But yeah, so you approach this rather severe-looking human with long white hair and a beard and dressed in kind of formal black and purple robes. And he looks up as you approach a little bit warily, like, what is this armored dragonborn coming to me for?
Pardon me, sir. I'm trying to find a particular book from this reference card, but I'm just not understanding how this room is organized. I was hoping you could help me.
There's a moment where he's listening to your question, and then he's just like, fine. And he looks at the card, and then he like, this guy's being an asshole about it, right? Like he's helping you, but he's making it very clear with his body language what an imposition this is. And honestly, he thought this library had better standards than this, and I can't believe they let people like you in here, that sort of thing. But he is helping you, and he basically like walks over to a set of the shelves, and then he holds up the card and he points to these little labels that are below each of the books and just says, he points at the card and then at the label.
Blessings of Rashama upon you. If there's anything that I can ever do for you, it would be my pleasure to help.
Make a persuasion check.
Don't roll the another one.
18.
18. I think with the blessings of Rashama and then how gracious you are about it, I think he softens a little bit and says, "It's fine. This is actually, I hate to admit it, but I didn't see them the first time either."
Thank you. But my offer still stands. And I bow to him and thank him. Thank you.
Yeah, he looks like he's not quite sure what to do with that, but he kind of gives you an awkward nod and goes back to where he's sitting.
Okay.
But certainly, I think now that he's pointed it out, you understand how the labels work, and you're in that area. So we will go ahead and have you get started working on looking for the books that you would want and trying to read up on them, and we'll come back to you in a moment. But let's first return to Nedry on the ground floor. I think in this location, you certainly see that there are the racks of periodicals. There's not like a lot of different ones, but you are surprised to see that it does in fact have selections of some of the newspapers and newsletters from Pashan, that you're familiar with. They seem to be about a week behind. And in fact, there is even a selection of Testotam newsletters.
I was going to ask about that. What's the most recent Testotam? Is it within, or is it a week or longer old?
That one is a little bit older than a week.
Okay.
But it's within the range of time since you kind of set out for, since you left Pashan. It's been since then.
Okay. Then he would look at the most recent one to see if there's been any responses to the things he's posted so far, and see if there's been any interesting theories that people have posted.
So you don't see anything that has to do with the stuff that you've posted, unfortunately. But that's partly just because it is a buzz with people reporting all sorts of strange phenomena that have been going on, and wildly speculating as to the possible causes. Many of them, of course, believing that it is all manner of different conspiracies, and so on. But to be sure, there is an awful lot of chatter about a substantially increased frequency of bizarre magical occurrences going on.
Yeah, I can imagine that Nedry kind of sits down, cross-legged, opens his book up, and is kind of not swearing, because Nedry doesn't really do that, but is kind of cursing an intellectual wizard at some of the things that are there, kind of calling them foolish or interesting or whatever, and just kind of proceeding to write his own responses at this point to those.
And I think that perhaps I'll allow you to decide how you feel about it, but by perhaps sheer coincidence, the speculation that is closest to what you know to be the truth is unfortunately also written by one of the more unhinged sounding writers. And so, unfortunately, by virtue of their tone and explanation, they make that theory sound much less credible than you know it to be.
It figures they would decide to finally figure something out and decide to make it worse by participating.
And he would be muttering like that out loud as well, kind of forgetting himself, as he does often in libraries.
But there are in fact references to basically what do people think the storm was, and various things that have been happening since.
Okay. You don't have to describe them now, but some of the things he's noting down, or anything that seems like an experience that we haven't had. So anything, we saw what was it, shrimp, I think it was, or snails or something fall from the sky, or right? So basically collecting anything like that might be interesting, and kind of noting where they are if they've given a location.
So go ahead and make an investigation check.
Can do. 14.
Okay. Yeah, I think that there's, you certainly find some reports of the stuff that we encountered in our second Roll for Shoes episode, in terms of there seem to be lots of reports of strange, almost oily appearing shadows that people have reported seeing creatures inside, but sometimes people have been found near them without remembering anything that happened, and also suggestions that there was some kind of an incident in the Skyport Tower where what was described as a being made of terrible light that scared a bunch of people at a pub.
How things get boiled down.
And so I think what you're seeing is certainly evidence that there are widespread things happening to the point where it is common knowledge that something's going on, and that the official word, to the extent that there is much from the Emperor, is that it's under control and they're working on it. But it's hard for anyone to believe that because it seems impossible that something like that would happen in a situation that was under control, and they don't have an explanation for why it did. And this is on the heels, of course, of one of the city's major landmark buildings collapsing into fungus. So people are talking, thinking like something really strange is happening, and we're not getting good answers about it. And so that's led to a lot of the wild conspiracy mongering.
Okay.
All right, so let's jump up to. So how long are you staying there with the periodicals? Or are you gonna?
Well, the next one would be to look for the most recent periodicals, the different ones there, to see if they have any other mentions that might be more local or might be more detailed.
So I think what I'll just go ahead and tell you is that, like, if the more local ones, like here, is that there are basically, there hasn't been any storms of that type here. However, there is sense that, like, especially in terms of reporting some of the strange news coming out of, the lands, out of the Empire, and a feeling of sort of tension, like almost like the building barometric pressure, so to speak. Like, there are people who believe that it is only a matter of time that whatever sort of magical phenomenon has been happening there will come here, even if it hasn't yet. And there is a lot of reports of, the more powerful individuals, like some of them who are, residents of Emerit Arboris from other planes have been choosing to return to their planes, and some people are kind of stockpiling, and there's just sort of a little bit of a sense of rising tension in town, even though they haven't seen storms of that type yet.
Okay.
All right. Zaleen, you were wanting to research religion?
Yeah, she actually wants to look up information on, like, evangelical type things, like how to build a flock and preach to them about your spirit, things like that. Like how to convince people to, follow your lead.
Mm-hmm.
Proselytizing 101.
Yeah, stuff like that. Like how to win flocks and influence them.
I was going to say, like, starting your own cult for dummies.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so I think I go ahead and make an investigation check.
$16.
16. So, like, are you looking for any stuff that is, like, specifically related to the Mistress of the Dark, or more generic, like...
I mean, I think that I would look, if anything that had to do with the Mistress of the Dark, like, leapt out at me while I was looking, I would definitely pick it up. But mostly just, like she's been thinking about her experience with Evan and trying to, convince him.
Right.
And stuff, and she wants to know how to do that better.
Right. I think that you find two books that seem related. One of which is all about, how to responsibly grow a community of faith. And one of them is lurid stories about famous cults. And like how they formed and how they developed and stuff like that.
I'll read that one first.
Well, I figured. And I think like some of what glean from that, in addition to just the heavy drama for the whole thing, is that it is often, like, obviously you need people who are kind of open in general, and willing, to even listen. But once you have, especially if there is any kind of an exposure to an actual powerful, like, icon of whatever it is that the spirit or extraplanar entity represents, then it is often sufficient just to have regular exposure to those sorts of things. Like, if you can get people to even just say, oh no, you don't have to join up, just come and hang out. A lot of these cults would start that way, of just, telling people, like, you don't have to, join and do the full initiation or anything. I mean, if you want to, sure, but otherwise we're just having a social, an ice cream social. Come on, hang out. And sometimes just forming a community in that way, but with exposure to powerful, divine magic or spiritual magic of one kind or another, can really work its way subconsciously into people. And often that's how they grow, because you're bringing people in, but once they're in, there's a progression of, you need to keep them away from the people who are going to tell them to stop doing it.
Right.
So I'm not
Okay.
sure how much we need to get into how cults really work. It's more a matter of...
No, I mean, like, I don't think that she would want to do it like at cult, but I think that just it would come across that way to a lot of people, just because it's such a bizarre...
Well, if nothing else, kind of understanding what the perception, understanding what the perception of some of these things are, and like, I think one of the stories in that book, the cult was not of the Mistress of the Dark, but there was a bit of an ominous postscript to that one that it was a worship of a spirit that sought to challenge and depose the Mistress of the Dark, was the lore, and it's suggested that they all kind of mysteriously disappeared one day after performing a ritual, and it doesn't seem like that was what was supposed to happen. So it is perhaps possible that they got too close to defended territory, so to speak.
Right.
But in any case, though, yeah, so you're researching that. Like, tell me if you're really looking for something more than kind of flavor stuff here.
I think, like, she would read through those for a little bit, and then taking what she gleaned from those, she would actually start to look for more information on the Mistress of the Dark and ways that, did she ever have like a major following, and did she ever have temples? Where would you be able to find them? Things like that. Yeah,
so I think you find that although there are a fair amount of books that just treat her kind of like, unseemly, like that sort of thing. It's not so much. There's actually not as much as you would have expected that treat her like she's evil, like she is bad, as much as like no one wants to have anything to do with her because she represents things that people don't want to think about and are scared of, right? But certainly some of the more responsible authors respect that, like, there is the idea of lightness and darkness, although it's sometimes and increasingly true that people think of light as good and dark as bad, that there are so many cases, even intuitively, where that's not the case. For example, if you need a good night's sleep, which you do, or rest even, there are, there's a need. You don't want to do that in a brightly lit room. You do that in a restful place. And by the same token, plants, even though they need sunlight to grow, if they have sunlight just all the time, that's actually not good for them over time. They need periods of both light and dark. And that there is a reflection of needing to have a responsible caretaker of the dark places of the universe. And an understanding that even though death is something that is feared by mortal creatures, because it seems so powerful and understandable, or like there's not a good understanding of how it exactly works after that. A lot of the ways that souls are claimed by the outer planes after a mortal's death are ineffable to the mortal creatures in beforehand. There's an essence of just saying that just because something is unknown doesn't mean that it's bad, and that there's a lot of need too for the idea of resting peacefully and not needing to necessarily fear that.
She would take a lot of notes on that kind of stuff so that she could actually, use that in her arguments while trying to, convince people that.
Right. Okay, so moving on up to Zinhorn. Go ahead and make an investigation check as you look for gray renders.
Okay. Investigation. 8.
Yeah. I think that you find that although you find basically the only mentions you're able to find are in sort of big elaborate bestiaries that so it's not a book about gray renders. It is a book about lots of different creatures that happens to talk a little bit about gray renders. And mostly what it says is that they are fiercely protective and territorial over whatever it is that they imprint on when they're young. And that they are extremely difficult to control, and so are often considered very destructive, even when they are, trying to keep them as protectors for whatever they've imprinted on. So they are not recommended as pets by this particular bestiary. It does make a note, though, that they do reproduce asexually under conditions that are not well understood. Like what triggers that to happen is not clear. They do grow to be a size. The size range that it estimates suggests that Buster certainly could have a way to go still. And basically, it just says that if you find yourself in the presence of a gray render, be very, very sure that you don't come between it and whatever it thinks it's protecting, because that's the most dangerous possible place you could be.
Okay. I'm going to copy that down and keep looking. Mm-hmm. I mean, meta-wise, I'm looking for the stat block page so
sure
that I can share that information. I mean, this is a lot of good information to share, but like how to train your gray render or animal handling.
I think the lower score you got just is going to be a reflection of it might take longer, right?
Yep.
In the meantime, though, Wuta and Carolina were off to find a pub. So tell me how you would try to find a pub and what you're looking for and what's the plan.
Well, one of my features,
Mm-hmm.
like my background, I have by popular demand and backstage pass.
Okay.
So that means that I can, it says case the joint to figure out what the clientele is like, basically. So what I would be looking for is, I don't want a touristy place. I want a place that locals are more likely to go.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want it to be like, I don't want shady types lurking about in there. Like, so not like super nice or anything, but like working class and not
Sure.
like, you know, people going to be doing, I mean, people are always going to be doing underhanded things
Right.
under the table,
So,
but
so not a dive, but a place where people who have jobs go after work to blow off some steam before they go home.
yeah, exactly.
Like Cheers. We're looking for Cheers.
All right. Yeah, I think you find a place, you're passing by and you almost don't even see it, but then you hear a crowd of people inside enthusiastically greeting one of their regulars who apparently has just showed up. And you say, that seems like a place where everyone knows your name if you actually go there regularly.
So at some point during the journey here, I've kind of put up the hood of my cloak a little bit because you know it's very sunny, need a little bit of shade, and just in gradual increments. So like anybody like looking directly at me wouldn't see like, oh, change from this to this.
Mm-hmm.
By the time we get to the pub, it's been a very gradual thing, but now her skin is a little darker. Her hair is definitely not red anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And she definitely has the ears of a half elf. So for reference, this is the forget what her name is. I have to look it up. It's been a minute since Nalira.
Okay.
So this is Nalira.
All right. I don't have all your tokens ready.
Right, I know. But yeah. So yeah, she's just a little different. So Wuta might be a little surprised that when Carolina brings down the hood, it is not Carolina anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Oh Lord, did I have Bamf out again?
Oh no, you're all right. It's just perhaps I'll explain later, but it's difficult to explain. But I think this will be a good place for us.
All right.
You can
You're
just
still
call me.
Carolina, right? Do I still call you Carolina, or should I call you
You can
something
call me
else?
Nalira. Would be
Nalidra. All right.
Nalira.
Nalira. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
All right. So let's wander on to this place and hear what we can hear and see what we can see.
Yeah.
So I think this is we can go ahead and say that sure, it's one of those places where you see the sign at street level, but you actually go down a little set of stairs into this particular tavern, and you see it's one of those places that has like a little micro stage in the corner. But right now there's no one on it, and instead there is some sort of a magical device sitting on the bar that is playing like a recorded, generic pub music number 3, at relatively quiet volume. But there is a little bit of a sense as you come in, like everyone's looking to see, oh, no, we don't know you. It's fine. Like people sort of smile like you're not like unwelcome, but it was like they thought you were someone else.
Just smiling pleasantly.
Mm-hmm.
Howdy.
Like I belong.
Yep. Just two locals looking for a drink.
I think that the bartender is a fire genasi, so has kind of just deep red skin, and their hair is sort of like bright orange and yellow, and almost seems to like it sticks up, and it kind of like as they move, it almost looks like crackling flame. But it's
Nice.
it is actually just hair. It's not really on fire like the Azers were. I mean, I think
It's
it
a
would be
lovely
one thing to say, "Hey, your hair looks like fire," but you like literally encountered people where that was literally true. it's not literally true here, but it's still impressive. In any case, he's wiping down the bar, and he just says, "So, welcome. Uh, this is the potable hole, which I am borrowing from Mark's suggestion earlier."
Well,
What
howdy.
can I
What
get
fine
you?
establishment you've got here.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, we like it. A little place to get away and enjoy yourself a little bit. Can I get you something?
A
Yeah,
few pints?
I'll take a couple pints of your house ale.
He nods and pours for you.
All right.
And let's see.
You hungry? You want anything to eat?
I think I'm all right for the moment. How much for the drinks?
It's a couple of silver, nickel, and a dime.
Well, yeah, I would just want to make sure he gets paid.
Sure. Yeah. No. So we will say you pay for the drinks. It's just not a amount I care about. So, it's a
All right. Is there an empty table we can sit at?
Yeah, I think so. And he does just kind of say, "We've got some really good curry fries if you're hungry."
Oh, that
I'll
sounds
take it.
lovely.
Yeah, I'll take an order of those.
All right. And they do appear to be just like fried potatoes, but with like a curry, spicy dipping sauce.
All right. Mm. So, what are we? What's the plan here?
Well, mostly I just want to keep my ears open, see if anybody might be looking for anybody in particular.
Oh, all right, all right. Are you? You're not gonna get up and sing, are you?
No, don't think so. Not today.
All right, all right. Well,
Mostly I want to hear of any interesting gossip. Perhaps talk to the
ah,
bartender in a bit, but just hang out
yeah.
and relax for a moment.
All right. Yeah, hang out, keep our ears open, have some curry
Mm,
fries and nice ale.
yeah, a lot of the locals seem to come in here, so
Yeah,
should
it
be
does seem to be
something
that kind of place.
interesting talking
Yeah,
about
yeah.
around here. All right.
So let's listen for gossip.
Okay. I guess make. I'm gonna go ahead and call it still investigation again because it's one thing to just say, "Do you hear things?" But like trying to figure out like what, like if there's multiple conversations, like what are you paying attention to and what are you trying to get? Like, are, so like what
Would it,
specifically are you trying to?
well, what I'm kind of interested in is to see if there might be anybody, like if we have a price on our heads, basically. Like
Mm-hmm.
if anybody's like heard about any wanted posters or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Any news that might have made its way down from Pashan or be on the lookout for these people, they're in trouble,
Okay.
something along that line,
All right.
or anything weird really, but mostly that.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'll say the two of you together. You can do either investigation with advantage or each roll, as you like.
How's
I
your
rolled a
investigation there, Wuta?
I rolled a 19.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah, we'll go with his.
All right. Was that with advantage?
No, that was not with advantage. Hold on, let me roll again. Yes, that is with advantage. 19.
Okay, 19. That's still pretty good. So I think that you don't hear anything that specific, right? Like this is a big city. It's far away from the place that you're imagining. You kind of picked a bar at random, right? Like it's
Right.
not necessarily like if you were wanting to hear about bounty hunters discussing their latest jobs, this
This
is
is
not
the wrong
place.
bar for that.
Yeah. But what you do hear is people talking about, um, what with the weird stuff going on, on the other side of the mountains, everyone here is thinking that the Empire is gearing up to do something stupid. Like there's been a little bit of a sense that like, well, like we don't like how the Empire kind of just took over that whole area, but at the same time, like they're on the other side of the mountains. It's kind of not our problem. We're able to, they don't bother us very much. But at the same time, there's just been an increasing sense that like something's going on over there, and it feels like it might disrupt the status quo that's been true for a while. And there's been a little discussion of like, well, I mean, the status quo for, Emerit Arboris is pretty new, all things considered, historically speaking and all. And it's like, okay, yeah, but that doesn't mean we want an empire that's only, 100 miles away to decide that it wants to expand in this direction or something, or who knows what it might do, right? Like there's just discussions of they see the empire writ large as having increasingly erratic behavior lately.
All right. But no mention of any like. It's kind of, I don't know what the scale of weirdness is here. Like, what would be considered out of the ordinary? So yeah, something that might cause a stir here might be nothing in Pashan or vice versa.
The thing is that I think if you were hoping to hear someone say, hey, yeah, did you see those wanted posters of those people that are wanted 100 miles from here?
Right.
No,
I'm I'm trying to get the temperature of the local population.
Yeah, I think that the sense is a little bit like what I was just saying, in the sense that like so far they haven't really encountered much problem, but they're hearing about problems elsewhere, and people seem like they're starting to get nervous.
Is there any talk going on of like other than us, but like a stranger or somebody out of the ordinary that might have come through the tree, like
Lots of
almost
people
like
unfortunately,
like a
what?
Like a bounty hunter, or
Oh.
like just somebody like out of the ordinary that they might have.
I mean, I think the problem is hundreds of people come and go.
Yeah.
Every
Okay.
day.
All right. That's what I figured. Yeah. All right. No problem.
Yeah. So I think unfortunately that's the news on the lips of the people in this bar is not really gonna have a lot of what you're looking for. But just getting a sense of the temperature of the town here, like I said, is that things have been continuing pretty much as normal here so far, but there is a little bit of a feeling of a storm coming. Like you can see the clouds to the east and feel like that doesn't look good.
Yeah. Sounds like something's brewing.
I wonder if I'm contemplating wandering up to the bar and talking to the bartender, but I'm not really sure what I was expecting to find here. It doesn't seem like things have gotten bad here at all, which is good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what things are like on a normal day around here, but it doesn't seem too bad around here.
Well, let me tell you a bit about how it was when we left Pashan. So I don't necessarily want to recap every single detail.
No, that accent needs all the story recaps. No.
Can you sing a song for me? Put it into song.
Not on the fly, sorry.
Okay.
I'm good, but I'm not that good. So I would go over kind of how we sort of stumbled into each other one night at the pub I was working at, and it sort of exploded from the inside out when we got trapped in a little pocket dimension trash dump area. And so when we were trying to get out, everything went everywhere. And well, we found a body in there, and then we talked to it, and we just stumbled on this big mystery, right? And have you ever heard any stories about this might sound a bit wacky, a place called Don's Tear?
Hmm.
I would also note that I am trying to be like subtle in this conversation, so but not like, hunched over like
Oh, sure.
conspiratorial.
No, I mean, yeah, like,
Yeah.
how about this? Make a perception check to see if anybody's listening.
With that accent,
Ooh.
you know they are.
27.
There is somebody who looks like they're just at a table by themselves, and they're maybe lonely. And so they're just kind of casually listening, but they don't seem like a threat.
Okay.
So the question has been laid to Wuta. Have you ever heard of a place called Don's Tear?
Go ahead and make a history check, Wuta.
All right. History check. That would be a 6.
Yeah, yeah. No.
Yeah, no. Nope, can't rightly say that I have.
Well, it's a place that is mostly only been rumors for the longest time. Adventurers are always going off here and there looking for it. Well, we haven't exactly found it, but we've found out a lot of very worrying stuff about it. It's been sailed away because it was taken over by nightmares. There's a lot of other magical bits and bobs involved with it. I'm sure Nedry could tell you much more about than I could. But
That's why you wanted to know if I had any nightmares.
yes, we've all had them, and we've found a way to sort of purge them. Zinhorn has a pipe, so you blow the smoke, and the nightmare comes out, and you fight it, and that's that. But as I understand it, as we've come to understand it, is that that place was sailed away to keep all of those nightmares on that island. There's a lot of powerful things there, but the price is very, very high. Madness awaits.
So what's your interest in this place? Like, are you trying to find it?
Well, I don't necessarily think that we're trying to find it. More like we're trying, I think at this point, to protect it. Do you remember the advisor to Oneira that it sort of got ripped apart by that grey render?
Yes.
Imposter? Well, and you saw the other one of its kind that we sort of we lost him.
Yeah.
Yes. So there's a whole bunch of them, it seems. So we don't know how many. We don't know exactly where they are, but there's some sort of plot afoot that they're all in different places of where they can cause trouble, basically. And they're trying to bust open the seal on this, place. And basically turn this into we'll be overrun by nightmares.
Yeah, just that's what I was gonna say. This place just opens up and just nightmares everywhere and just chaos and destruction, right? Well, we can't let that happen.
No.
Be like dogs and cats living together. Total anarchy.
Mass hysteria.
It was there is one thing that I do wonder about, though. So the reason that there's all of this corruption is because these people, they made deals to get certain amounts of magic to make things happen. And there's a price for these things to happen. And if you don't pay the price, if you renege on the deal, it all goes south. and that's where the corruption originates. So I have to wonder if maybe there's something that can be done to make it right.
See, now all this just makes sense. It's so nice to have somebody to sit down and explain this all to me, because now it's just like, wow, now I kind of got a purpose going on here now.
Well, that's a very condensed version of it, and there's
Well, yeah, but
lots of
that's like
players
the
that we
main.
don't even know their faces at this point.
No. But you just laid on me the main plot point of everything.
It's complicated, but that's
Yeah,
that's the
well,
best I can do for a condensed
all the good
version.
things are complicated in life.
Nothing is ever simple, that's for sure.
So, what's your? I gotta ask this, just because what's your fascination with the heroes of legend?
Well, it's a bit of a long story, but this how I look now wasn't how I
Yeah.
looked before.
Right.
Some people can do that magically, and
Okay.
I will definitely be whispering
Mhm.
this. I don't need a spell to do it.
Oh.
Hmm. I
Okay.
don't do it a lot. I don't like lies, and so with the heroes of legend, there's a lot of bits in there about, the one figure Jinxie. They change their face all the time, and
Right.
it's never for a good reason. And that part of the story always stuck with me.
Hmm.
And I have to wonder if maybe there's something more to it. Like if there's others out there that are not like that, that are good.
I get it. Okay. Yeah.
But I grew up on the stories. I learned all the songs. And
Ah.
I wanted to be able to say that I'd done something good in the same way they had.
Oh, that's right noble of you.
Well,
You're a
I
good
hope to be.
person. You're a good person.
I hope to be.
Yeah.
I'm working on it. But like I said, it's complicated, right? Everything is.
So you're a big fan of then Ket, right?
Oh, yes. Yes, he's one of my favorites. I've not quite been able to nail down the sense of humor he had.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, he was a funny guy.
my the person who trained me, who raised me, really, she spent some time here, and I got the impression, she never directly said, but I got the impression that she may have crossed paths with him, maybe learned a song or two.
Oh,
She
all
was
right.
always a bit funnier than I was. Humor is a very subtle art.
Mm. Well, yeah, that's all right. Well, that's good. I'm glad we got to have this little talk.
Well, I'm don't think I'm particularly exciting. It's only been this last little bit that's been anything of note, really.
Well, it's all right. It just gave me a sense of who you are and the kind of group you're traveling with, and you seem like good folk. Willing to do a good thing, and well, it just seems like something I might want to hitch my wagon to.
Well, yeah, you seem fairly useful, and like you want to do the right thing, and people like
Yeah,
that are
absolutely.
always welcome. Could
Yeah,
always use more friends.
yeah.
So, I think we briefly cut back over to the library, and as everyone is, it's getting close to when you'll all have to go meet up to go to dinner as planned. But Nedry, as you are still researching, there's a moment where you belatedly realize that your little thought bottle is glowing.
Oh, 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 okay.
You're not sure
Um,
exactly when it started, but it would have been since you arrived in town.
Okay. He would look around for some place that's a little bit out of the way, like a reading cubby or something like that.
Sure, yeah.
Draw out his pen and then touch the pen to the side of the vial, drawing forth this shimmering thread of silver, which kind of hovers there for a second, just hesitation, and then he shoves it into his forehead.
Okay. And so as this thought penetrates and embroils your conscious mind in the transmitted thought, you find yourself climbing the stairs in the library, and you briefly look up at a clock on the wall that says it's midnight. And then you reach the orrery level of the library, and there's a sense immediately like in a dream, you didn't see it happen, but you know that it did, which is you asked your friends to wait while you came to do this by yourself. And so as you are on the orrery level, you move around to the center where there's a little sort of reading nook and shelves that are sort of at the center of a little bit of a spiral pattern of the shelves near the center of the where the base of the orrery is. And as you make it there, you see that Master Finster is there himself waiting for you. And what you know is that he's there to help you. And that's the thought you get.
Kind of picks open his book, starts writing all the details that he can down, trying to analyze it at the same time. And that it looked like this library.
Yes. It's definitely this library.
Oh. Uh-oh.
He's gonna start to see if he can find Zaleen or Zinhorn.
Yeah. I think it's not too hard. I mean, this place is like, it's a big building, but not so big that you can't find someone you're looking for.
I think Zaleen was only one floor up.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can hand wave the actual search,
Okay.
and you can find them. It's not difficult.
Okay. Nedry looks. It's sort of a combination of excited and concerned. It's a look he gets often, probably when there's something new to learn, but he's uncertain about what it is. It's probably also a look that he's gotten sometimes when someone, for example, Carolina, points out how dangerous knowledge is, and he's sort of like, no.
Well, it's sort of. I think I need to break into the library later tonight, and I might need some help, but only to a certain point, and then you can't help.
Oh, okay. But why? Do you have to break in? I mean, we're right here, right now.
Exactly, and now's not the right time. Time is important.
So, would you have checked the hours of operation? I'm just
Probably.
saying. So, if
Yeah.
you would have, you would know it is actually open that late.
Oh, it is open that late.
Yeah.
Okay. I was thinking it probably was closed.
No.
Well, then back that up a little bit. It's like,
Well, I have to be here very late,
Okay.
and I need to make sure that I'm undisturbed.
so you
I'll-
want like a guard?
Well, if there's anyone around, I'll have to make sure that they leave. And I have ways of making people leave, but most of them are probably impolite.
Well, I mean, we can watch your back and make sure that you're not disturbed.
If the circumstances aren't correct, I have a feeling that the circumstances won't be correct. It's sort of, how to explain? It's not exactly precognition. It's more like pre-programmed present. There are a set of circumstances that I have to make sure are precise in order to make sure that the conjunction of the magical powers which are going to occur are correct.
Okay.
So I'll probably
You're
need your help for
Not
that.
making any sense.
I mean, it makes sense to me. I don't understand like what's happening or why where this came from, but I mean, I will help you if you need help as long as it's not something weird like, the circlet where it was really dangerous and
Oh, no, it shouldn't be anything like that. There's certain confidences that I really don't think that I should breach, but suffice it to say that I'll be meeting someone and they're going to help me.
Okay.
The details are limited.
Okay, as long as it's not the adversary.
Yeah, that's
I don't
my
care.
worry.
It would be very concerning if it was the adversary, because it meant that they were far more powerful than any of us could imagine.
Well, didn't the adversary reach out to someone before?
Well, the adversary has, with different messages and magical means, both to communicate and attempting to probe minds. This is different. It's more deeper connection.
Okay.
One that shouldn't be breachable, although there may be circumstances, I suppose. I will take some precautions. I don't have a lot prepared for this circumstance.
Well, I mean, if it's
You'll have to get moving now if you're going to meet the others for your dinner rendezvous.
Right.
okay, we can talk about this on the way.
Of course.
So we'll start going, like packing up our stuff and heading to where I'm assuming Carolina sent us a message on where to meet them.
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
no, I'm assuming that you had chosen a location based on the maps that you have in common.
Oh, I was going to find a different spot than the one that we were at.
Okay, well, what I'm saying is,
Yeah.
before you split up, you chose a spot, and you both knew that spot based on the map.
Right.
Roughly, probably the neighborhood, if nothing else.
Well, you
Yeah.
both have copies of the same map. My point
Right.
is, it's got landmarks on it. You could
Fine.
say,
We're
"Be
meeting
here at
in a
this
place to do
Yeah,
the thing.
We're meeting at the pizza parlor.
It's getting dark.
Like,
There's a
we
lot of
invented
I'm
red
trying
pizza
to not
last week.
like. Don't accidentally invent complications that I'm not even trying to do to you. Like, you just like, we're choosing to deliberately get lost and be separated. No, so
All
yeah,
right,
so
so-
I'm assuming you chose a location.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're going. We're on our way there now,
Mhm.
All right.
and like we can fill everybody in on this at dinner, okay? Because I'm sure that Carolina won't like the idea of you on your own without some reassurances.
Understandable. Well, we can take
Yeah.
certain precautions, but as I said, circumstances are important.
I understand. So we meet you guys there.
Hey,
Hey,
how y'all doing?
So I would like to suggest that when we meet up, Wuta and I have gone shopping for some supplies, so we've just got like a bunch of bags or whatever
Okay.
with us.
Sure.
It's mostly like food stuff, just
Sure.
like generic.
Provisions and stuff. Yeah, okay, we can
Yeah.
work out whatever
Yeah.
that would have cost.
The really expensive toilet paper.
It's
Yeah.
Cheerios.
Mhm.
Don't lie. It's a bunch
Ramen
of
noodles for
Cheerios.
everyone.
Got
It's
one of those
like, you know,
bulk
what-
containers. It's like a pallet of 100 and,
Yes. Those are all
That's a
for
whole lot.
Buster. Like one
I'm
meal
like,
for Buster.
I'm like one trick Wuta. I'm just carrying all these bags on my hands. Yeah.
So I think though, on that image of we're going to sort of crane out as all of you have reunited and you're going to figure out where to eat dinner, but we're going to pull away for tonight's session of so many levels. And what will become of this secret meeting that Nedry has been invited to? Where will the pocket protectors go next? Where will they have dinner? And
What will I call my cult?
and so we will find out when we return next week for more adventure on so many levels.
So
So
many
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 levels
levels.
filled with books.
Right.